Good evening, everyone. Peace and blessings to you. My name is Reverend Leah Alvarado. I'm with New Thought Northern Colorado Center for Spiritual Living. Welcome to day 36. Today is our topic is facing injustice. Each day we come together during the season of nonviolence for a total of 64 days to practice a new principle of peace and nonviolence based on the legacy of Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King. So glad that you're with us today. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "I am cognizant of the interrelatedness of all communities and states. I cannot sit idly by in Atlanta and not be concerned about what happens in Birmingham. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects." I'm going to say that again. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. Martin Luther King Jr. wrote this letter when he was in jail in Birmingham in response to white Alabama clergymen who called him an extremist and told Blacks they should be patient. When we think of people like Gandhi and King, we tend to see them at their most courageous in the midst of their struggle. What we miss in this picture is all that went before. We miss the years of fear and turmoil, knowing the upheaval and distress it would cause themselves, their families, and their countries. We miss the moments of doubt and indecision, the long prayerful hours and days seeking any other way out. We miss the final fateful moment of courage, when the decision was clear and the steps toward confrontation with injustice began. Because we miss those moments, we put individuals like these on pedestals, missing the truth of who they are, that they were ordinary people. In our lives, we all face injustice, whether globally, nationally, locally, or even personally. But we fear to take action. For the most part, we try to tolerate it, hoping that some way and somehow it will just go away, praying that someone else will be the brave one, or that some answer will be found to create an easy way out for everyone. Most of the time, that will happen. Sometimes, though, we are the ones who must finally be tired of giving in and take action. Before we do, we must spend the time necessary to do everything possible, including the deep soul-searching and prayerful meditation that will lead us to the right decision. Even then, we have to sincerely and gladly approach those inflicting the injustice to seek one last opportunity to reach a peaceful resolution. Then and only then can we justify non-cooperation and nonviolent resistance. And justify it we must, to ourselves, to the world, and to the divine. I have two reflection questions for us today. Some things to think about as we look at this topic of injustice. And for ourselves, the first question to ask is, when do you tolerate injustice? As you think about your life, all that has happened in the last year, so many things that we have witnessed in the world. When do you tolerate it? So many acts of injustice have occurred in our society, in the US, in the world. When do you find yourself tolerating it? As you witness these things, you may be called to take action and yet choose not to. And again, as I often say, this isn't about judging ourselves for what we're doing or not doing. It's just simply to notice. Just notice within yourself, when do you tolerate it? When do you pull back? When do you choose to not step forward? And why? Just noticing that within yourself. The next question is, what injustice do you see in your life and in the world that needs to be addressed? And are you called to address it? That's something else that is important for each of us. We may witness things in the world, but not feel called to stand on the front lines, especially now in the midst of a pandemic. Some are called to that, and others choose to take action from behind the scenes, so to speak, through prayerful action, which can also be powerful. And so it's important for each of us to ask, what am I called to do? What is mine to do? And we can only know for each of us what that is. It isn't the responsibility of anyone else but our own. We know what action we want to take, and we have a choice as to how we want to do that, what that will look like. And for some of us, we're overwhelmed by what we're witnessing emotionally, mentally, and we're not in a space to take action, and that's okay too. We need time to process and to heal what we're witnessing and what is going on in the world before we can actually take action. And so it's an opportunity to go within, to check in with ourselves, to know what is ours to do. Our affirmative practice today. Here we are. I've put it in the chat. Let's say it together. Perhaps this will help us all. I will meditate on all those places in my life where I tolerate injustice, even in small personal matters. Today, I will go within to find out what is mine to do and take action, knowing that what I do impacts all. This is the path to nonviolence. So let's just take a moment to go within, checking in with ourselves, asking the question, what do I feel called to do? What is mine to do? As we witness injustices happening in our world, in our communities, in our own personal lives, what is mine to do? It takes tremendous courage to stand up for what we feel isn't right. And to do it in a non-violent, peaceful way also takes tremendous courage. And so just taking a few moments to just feel into that. What is your truth around all of this? What are you called to do? What action are you called to take within your own life, within your own families, within your own community? And the answer may not be clear right now, and that's okay. It's an opportunity to sit with it, to trust the guidance that comes through, knowing it will come at the perfect time in the perfect way. And so let's just move into a few moments of silence. And so gently coming back with a deep breath. Let peace begin with you. I'm knowing that as we continue to do this great and powerful work, that not only are we growing within ourselves, but we are sending rays of peace and nonviolence out into our families, into our communities, and into the world. That as we come together, as we focus on this work, we are making a difference. Thank you for being here. Tomorrow night will be day 37, and we'll be talking about the recipe for success. Have a beautiful evening. See you soon. Namaste.